Well, to discuss the security implications of these incidents and the response from European authorities, I'm joined now by Ajmal Sohail. He's a counterterrorism and national security analyst. He's speaking to us from Berlin in Germany. So thank you so much, Ajmal, for joining us. A lot of things are going on, obviously, quite disturbing, really, the things that are going on. But these attacks, they seem to be targeting a lot of these Jewish sites. How concerned should we be, and how are these security services dealing with these?
So thanks for having me. This phenomena actually needs a little bit of academic or research-based analysis, which may take a little bit more time. But by the way, I will try to finish as fast as possible, or the time allows me. So the issue is actually with the anti-Semitism. It is we could discuss it in three categories. The first is the state level, and then the groups, and then the individuals. The state actually they use it as a state rhetoric to mobilize, or as a tool or as a strategy for mobilization, or to rally the community or the people behind their political rhetoric, or or their messaging or their policy. And then we have the groups. They use it as a tool of radicalization. They would like to radicalize the people. So the easy tool is the anti-Semitism. And then we have the individuals who are inspired, or the people or the individual who are self-recruited, and in the digital world, what the information is put that the people all read it. So this is the issue. It is a huge security or national security issue for all the European countries, because they are not handling a certain group or certain network. Rather, they have to monitor the influence of the state level, the state players, and then the non-state players, and then the individuals. In this case, it makes it a little bit difficult for the European countries at the top, like Great Britain, and also the other European countries to tackle this situation.
Ajmal, I don't want to get your thoughts, because we don't really know why counterterrorism, or these these counterterrorism officers are in fact dealing with this case. Is it really terrorism that we're looking at? I mean, it's being classed as terrorism, but why is it the counterterrorism department?
So the counterterrorism, however, I have a little bit, how can I say, issue with. This is something that we cannot prevent it, because it is a social crisis. Of course, it is a social matter, but still, it is an act of terror when someone is not directly involved in like conflicts or in wars, and you are attacking them. It's, of course, it's an act of terror. So in this case, why the terrorists, the counterterrorism officers are deployed to investigate? You know that when an act of terror happens, then there are a couple of signs. Like the first thing is surveillance, and then we have like the elicitation, and then the finances, then the test of the security test, and then rehearsal, and finally the deployment and logistics. In this case, the counterterrorism officers or experts, they have to look all these cases where the surveillance happened, whether it was digital or it was physical, and where were the security gaps that they used these security gaps to an incident to take place, and then how these finances came, because it is when it is from a network. So there was a communication between the individual and the network. This network comes from where? There's communications, there's all these signals. Then the financing, how this financing arrived to the area that they enabled an individual to do some act of terror. And finally, they have to have the preventive measure that it should not be exploited to the state level or to more huge incident. And in this concern, the counterterrorism experts are deployed to investigate.
Yeah, it's very interesting the things that you're saying there as well. Really, truly, but we're also seeing some, I know, some higher security measures now, and around synagogues, around Jewish schools. Do you think that there could be a rise in more attacks?
I'm still concerned that why this incident happened. However, from years and especially since the 2024, 2023, when the first time the conflict between Israel and Palestine took place, and then, of course, in the course of that against the Hamas and then Hezbollah, and then came to Iran. So however, everybody knows that across the European countries that something in this particular arena would happen, where the Jewish community live, or where the Jewish assets are, but still. I'm concerned of why these gaps, the security gaps, are there. Because as a terrorist organization, we are examining how a terrorist incident could happen. So the first thing is, as I said, the surveillance, and then they have to have the elicitation, and then the security test. When they do the surveillance, and they see that which area is vulnerable that they could attack, and then they do the security test when there is no security around, or there is a vulnerability in security, and they do it. And still the question is, when they are protecting all these synagogues and the Jewish assets across Europe, but still why this incident happens? This is a huge question. And that is why they are deploying more forces, even in some part, the undercover, or maybe the counter espionage teams, and also some special forces to protect them. But they think that it might gonna happen, because as I said before, we are not dealing with a single terrorist network or the radicalized network, rather a state rhetoric. The Iranians, this hate within the Iran, or they are trying to mobilize the society against Israel. They are doing it. Even in some countries where there's no, direct geopolitical interest or geopolitical countermeasure is there, like Pakistan, like Afghanistan, or maybe Bangladesh. In some other countries, they are trying for their political identity to rally the community beside them, but there's a conflict between Islam or Jewish community, or Islam or Jewish at all, and that is really difficult. In this case, they are trying the security institutions in European country. They are overwhelmed not only by the networks, but also by the state level actors who wanna project power through anti-Semitism strategy.
That's a good point that you made there as well. You talked a little bit there about the three different sort of sectors, whether if it's a country rhetoric, maybe it's Iran, maybe. But I want to sort of ask, how do these security services distinguish between sort of an incident, a single hate crime, compared to a more sort of coordinated attack? Are they able to do that, to see the differences between the two?
That's really a difficult part. As someone counterterrorism expert, this is for me, when we are studying the cases of different, terrorist attacks. What someone is a self-recruited, that's really difficult to understand, because he just in the online battlefield, they are reading a lot of information, and as I said, they might have been self-recruited, or they might have been inspired by statements made by these, whether by the state-run organizations or networks or non-state. In this case, it is a little bit difficult, but still, the security institutions and top the counterterrorism, organizations, they could find it, because there is a communication tools, which communication tools is used, and between which countries this communication was done, how it was done, and also, as I said before, it needs logistic acquisition, it needs financing, which ways they finance, they provide a finance to a certain individual or network. At the end, some incident happened, so they could find it. However, it is a little bit difficult, because most of the things are done today, like darknet or dark web. Most of the information in dark web, and it is difficult to find who are communicating with one another. And also, regarding the financing, there is a digital currency they're doing it, and also we have the former, or the very classic one, the Hawala system. They do it. It is really hard to trace it. And even regarding the exchange of the information, they use the old tactics or dead drops that they during the Soviet Union, and also during the Cold War, or before the Cold War, which is used. So they are using different tactics at different systems. So it would be difficult for the counterterrorism organization to find out. But finally, they are really trained in that regard, and I'm sure that is the reason that the police, or maybe the other security agencies, they came sure, and that is why the counterterrorism experts are deployed.
You know, Ajmal, before I let you go, we always believe that our lives are online, and we can't actually hide from the government anymore. Yet you're saying there are still many ways that these terrorists are able to still hide and communicate and talk to each other. If that is the case, what then? What kind of tools do they have, or do they have the right tools to be able to prevent these attacks and keep us safe?
I think the counter-terrorism, like the old scenario, this is capture and kill, it does not work. So the best possible way is to monitor, the digital monitor and physical monitor. And then we should have the prevention tools. We have to intervene before something happens. And then we have to try to start the process of rehabilitations, or means the counter narrative. What narrative they provide, that we have to have a counter narrative. And then we have to provide these probably who are radicalized or on the way of the radicalization, to provide a more alternative that what the state-run or the non-state-run organization promised them. And then at the end, we have to try to reintegrate them into the society. So till now, the counterterrorism or the security organization, they think that we are gonna arrest them or kill them or capture them. This is the end. It is not the end, but the end policy would be the prevention, then intervention, prevention, rehabilitation, and also reintegration to the society.
Indeed, Ajmal, it's been a pleasure talking to you, sir, and very enlightening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Prime Time. A pleasure talking to you. Thanks again.